Name is Ruckus. I'm 10-8. Special guest today, Kev, current firefighter. I'm going to educate us. Please like, share, and subscribe, please. I appreciate it. Okay. Just a little quick housekeeping. I love the comments, good or bad. I don't mind either way. Let's just keep them down in length. People are sending me comments, and it's like reading War and Peace, and I want to read War and Peace. I would read War and Peace, but just condense them. Give me the Reader's Digest version, would you? Please. Let me get Kevin here, and we'll get rolling. Everybody that's here, welcome. Thanks for watching. And everybody that's going to be watching a replay, I appreciate it. Please just give me a like. Doesn't cost you anything. Helps me out, though. Let me get Kev on the phone here. Hey, Kev.
What's happening?
Hell if I know, man. And don't tell me if you find out. I like being in the dark.
Yeah, I'm like a mushroom. They keep me in a corner and feed me crap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let me do a quick check here. If you guys can hear me and Kevin okay, please put a 1 in or just say yes or something. Just so I know we're okay before we get too far into this.
Volume shouldn't be a problem for me. Hopefully clarity's okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Lisa. What's up, New York, Rory, Jinx, Cindy, Justice? See who else is in here. Check Cash Dave had to go, but thanks for stopping by, buddy. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to put this video on in the background. This is from Indie Archives, and it's the dash cam footage, but it's a little bit better than the one I had last time. And we can ask some questions to Kev, and I can... there we go. Now, I have the sound off. I have a copy of this in my community tab, so if you guys wanted to listen to it, you can listen to the audio. But I didn't want to drown out anything in the background. I don't have a good EQ system, so I don't want it to sound like shit. All right, Kev, if you could. Now, Kev has his own channel. It's called Coach Kev's True Crime Talk, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys need to subscribe to him. He's awesome. He's down to earth. He explains things that even a dummy like me could figure out what he's talking about. So
maybe it takes a dummy, huh?
Yeah.
To explain.
Yeah. Well, welcome aboard then. You're on the dummy train right now. But if you could tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Kev, and where you work at and what you're up to.
Yeah, so I'm not I'm a person who everyone knows who I am. I'm not a public figure. Locally, I am, but I don't hide anything or anything. I've been a fireman. My name's Kev. I've been a fireman in McKeesport for this April. I'll start my 22nd year, and McKeesport's about 12 miles east of Pittsburgh. We have about 20,000 people. We're very poor. We're about 70% under the poverty level. So as far as the small country politics, I don't know anything about that because I'm from like an inner city. We have some volunteer departments near us, some rural areas outside of our town and, outside of Pittsburgh. There's some more like little politics that go on there. So I know a little bit about it, but I was never a volunteer fireman. I got hired for political reasons. My grandpa was a judge way back when, but he was a good judge. He wasn't like some of these guys we're going to talk about or you guys hear about. But again, it was a municipality. We weren't like a borough. So we were a third-class city. At one point, McKeesport was the third biggest city in Pennsylvania back in the 50s. The mills closed. We're a Rust Belt town. That's enough about that. You get that. We run about 1,500 calls a year with a 34-man department right now, and about 50 structure fires a year. So that's 50 working house fires, like you see in the video here. We about, on average, about 50 of them. We only run about 100 medical calls a year. So we are extremely busy. We run car wrecks like you can't believe. I can't even tell you how many car wrecks we run a year. We were averaging last year like 2 car wrecks a day. So it's, business picks up. Before we start watching the video, I have all my guys in my department watching this now, and they're, I've probably more than half the department have sat there and watched this whole video with me. I've taken notes. They've pointed out a couple things to me that I didn't even notice, and we'll get to that as we go on. But there's a few things that everyone is agreement on. And if you're not sure about what I'm telling you or anyone's telling you, send this video to a firefighter that you know from anywhere. They could be from a town of 100 people, or they could be from New York City, Manhattan, or on a truck up there, and ask them what they see in this video. And almost a lot of the things are going to be exactly the same. You're going to hear, what were they doing? Throw a ladder to that second floor. But as we move on, we'll be able to talk about that. But if you have any questions for me, or hey, why do you come to this conclusion or that conclusion, and you disagree with me, send it to a fireman and ask one of them, what do you think happened here as we see Deputy Air running out? But really, for my background, that's it. I got into this because of Delphi. It sucked me in. I'm into true crime and criminal profiling. I'm what you would call an amateur assistant profiler at this point. So I know very little about it, but it intrigues me, the mind. Then I started doing cases that were ongoing instead of old. Came to Delphi, and Flora kind of got dumped in my lap. A lot of people have sent me a lot of good information. Here's the guy that only works on computers. Well, guess what? Today you're driving a fire truck. Get in. So hard to understand and hard to explain to people. I understand their frustration. What are they doing? What are they doing? Your frustration level is at 80. Mine's at 110 because I understand what should be happening. So it's even more frustrating to me what happened to those girls. And everything's good. All this is good. Everybody talking about this is good. Even if people disagree on things, I think this happened, I think that happened. As long as no one's making any crazy, gross, accusations against anyone or anything, the more the better. With the good debate, good discussion, and I'm just gonna be able to give you what I see, my expertise. But I've been to a lot of fires. I can't tell you how many, and what I think that they're doing. And I can tell by. And I was telling you this before, Rock. We don't have sound here, but when you send this video to firemen to ask them their opinion, they're gonna listen. They're gonna hear the engine get up to 1,000 RPMs. I run the pump, so I know that. If I'm away from my truck and a noise can send me running back like something's wrong. Am I cavitating? What's going on? So I can hear the water. You can see the water. When the white smoke is good, black smoke and brown smoke is bad. That's a rule of thumb for firemen. And any smoke under pressure, like coming pushing out, kind of scares you because there's some kind of energy source that's pushing that smoke. Could be the fire burning itself, or it could be water being moved, as we'll see here in the video. And this guy here, he's just strolling. Ruck, you said this before too. You grew up in an inner city, not inner city, but in a city, and you would have seen people throwing ladders. You would have seen a lot of different things. And I'm not knocking the neighbors or anything. Maybe they were all asleep, didn't get up. And in the city, the houses are closer together. You can hear, but I'm seeing people do crazy shit to try to help their neighbors. And I'm like, damn, you're brave to do that. You're not even a fireman, but you don't see that. Or you see people walking around, and I don't want to knock them, but it's noticeable. That's something that my guys noticed watching this. If you remember, we were talking about that.
Yeah, shit's changed, Kev. When I was growing up in the late 60s, early 70s, and I graduated high school in 82, neighbors really look out for each other a lot more. And we weren't anti-law enforcement either. We knew all the cops. They were beat cops. So, everything's definitely different. Let me just address something real quick from the chat. For pit bulls, I am learning, brother. I'm telling you, I am learning about that county. I still have faith in them. I have faith in Nick and Doug Carter and all those guys to do the right thing. But, I don't see a problem with them bringing in a grand jury and present everything, that would move it one way or another, you know. So I think that that would be a rational thing to do. If nothing else, that should be the next step. Get a grand jury, present all the information. And like Kev was just saying, I don't think many people will agree with what the general bullshit that's running around out there about this fire is. It's all negative. It's all, you know, they automatically default to corruption. You hear corruption a lot. Now, to me, there were some crimes committed after this fire, but not before or during. Not to me, anyway. What do you think, Kev?
Well, initially, like we go back and forth on the cause, arson, no arson. You know, Randall says multiple points of origin, which automatically makes me want to say that wasn't true. But whatever started the fire, I'm not ready to say this is what I think it was. I haven't seen pictures of POI, the alligator, any of that. But after the fire, I definitely think there was some funny business going on. There was some kind of corruption. The reports weren't right. You can't get the fire report still. We were just talking about that. It has to be detailed. It has to be logged and inventoried somewhere. Even after I talked to you, I talked to someone else. I actually got a dispatch record of the radio communication from the CAD system. Did you have a CAD system before you retired?
Yes.
The computer screen in the police car?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you understand those goofy codes. I shared on my community page what it looks like, the CAD system. Okay, so we got a guy crawling in right here. Let's jump on this. He crawls in and crawls right back out. Now, some people here are saying, oh, he threw an accelerant in there. Well, a couple of different things. One, if he threw an accelerant in there, that would be cooking by now. You understand? It doesn't take a few minutes to go off. So you see the fire in the back. That fire would be, woof. There's only a person running in the video. I don't know who that is. Okay, again, nothing's moving. Nothing's moving. I think what happened is that dude crawled in there and said, oh, shit, I don't want to be in here, came back out and waited for help. And that's not a noble thing to say about another fireman, but I believe that's what happened with that guy right there. And again, there still isn't developed. You'll see within 3 seconds of the window being punched out, you'll see them on the stairwell. You'll see the fire start. And then I think 20 seconds later, you have what's basically that's entirely flashed over. So, you know, I know the people, it's hard to explain to people that aren't firemen, why did this guy crawl in there and crawl back out? Because it makes no logical sense. It doesn't make logical sense to me either, Ruck. You know, it doesn't, because I'm not coming out of there. You know, I'm not some hero fireman. I'm like all of our guys. We're salty old vets, and there's cops down, there's girls. We're coming, you know? And if I do that and I have to come out, I'm throwing a ladder because I said, well, this is too bad. But those police are still in there. For as far as I can tell, they're still in there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So again, you're about almost a minute from whenever this, you know, people were saying he crawled through an accelerant. You understand, a minute later, this would have been blowing out of everywhere. They wouldn't even be able to have been on a porch. And like I told you before, just go to YouTube and look up a video of someone, and don't do it. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. Look up a video of some idiot dumping gasoline on a campfire or throwing an accelerant on something. Listen, the vapors catch on fire before the gas even hits it. So window's punched, here you go. And this is where all hell breaks loose. I don't know why the window was punched. Clearly, it shouldn't have been. I know that the fire chief has said it's a PPV. Well, PPV includes a fan. Right there, he's telling him he's ready for water. You're going to see that hose kick up if you look real close. That's the pressure coming from it. And as soon as that front room starts darkening down, I can hear it on the video. As soon as that front room starts darkening down, you can tell there's water being put on the fire. And you'll see it's dark, there's flowing water. And when they get inside the house, you're going to see a bunch of like grayish white smoke pushing out. That's good smoke for firemen. See that smoke pushing out? That's under pressure, but you're causing a chemical reaction. You're putting that fire. That energy has to go somewhere. That white smoke means there's water on the fire. Earlier, it was all black and it was free burning. So that's like things that we look for. And watch here in a second. You see smoke pushing out like crazy. They're hitting the seat of the fire at that point. That's now that energy being kicked back. It's burning. It has to go somewhere. It comes up here in a second. At one point, I was actually able to see what I believe to be on the stairs on his back. There's a light, a right angle light. You know, the firemen carry. They hook it onto their coat, or some people hook it on their air straps. See that smoke's coming out under pressure in the front? It's going to come out on the side. Here it is. Look at that. They're hitting the seat of the fire. See all that coming out? When I'm outside and I'm operating a pump and I see that, I'm like, good job, boys. They're getting it, you know? So for me, I'm able to see that from the smoke. And again, send it to a fireman. They're going to tell you the same thing.
I mean, it's evident now that you explain it and I'm watching it real time as you explain it. Yeah, that makes total sense, Kevin.
And continue to watch here. You're going to see that fire flicker up in the back. And if you have the sound on and if you know what you're listening for, excuse me, you'll hear the water flow stop. You'll see the white smoke stop coming out under pressure. And you'll see the fire start up in the back a little more. During that time, they're searching. That's what they're doing in there. They're searching. And I don't know how many firemen are on the scene. That's not the giant fireman, yeah. The giant fireman right to left is when they're pulling out Yoder. And I know I went back and forth with people. We've had some good debate. I've got more information from this.
Yeah, it's about 5 more minutes till that happens.
It syncs up to the Fox 59 timeline where roughly 18 minutes from the time the call came in, the dash cam started, between 18 and 19 minutes is whenever they made contact and said with the downed officers. That's from Fox 59. I can post that in my community thing too. I have the radio transmissions, and they're like a minute or two off, but everything jives with that. I have them about 1842. I think it's in this video, but again, with this video, it starts a little late, so I think you have the correct timestamp. But you'll see a really big fireman walking from right to left. You've got to look over his shoulder. There's a guy in a black uniform who I believe to be Dissinger, someone in full turnout gear, and they're dragging a person out that looks to be heavy, and someone, you know, people said, well, maybe it could have been the girls. Absolutely. However, I think that they would have been full dragging a girl out. You'd have had them in your arms, and you'd have been running out there. I've been in that situation. I've been lucky enough where those kids lived. And I went out that door like Jim Brown with a football. And if anybody was in my way, they were getting mowed down because I was running that little boy right to the ambulance. So that's what I believe is happening from my view and from my experience. And the guys all agreed with me on all that at work. And actually, one of the deputy chiefs caught that. It's only like 2 seconds. I didn't notice that. He said, they're pulling out right there. We rewound it. We were taking pictures of the TV with our phones trying to blow it up. So I believe that that's what's happening. And I believe with the time sync, everything falls in line there. So again, you'll see the big guy right to left coming. David Erskine walks in front of the camera.
Yeah, I'll pause it for you, Kev. When it gets there, I'll pause it for you.
Yeah. Well, the Erskine guy is going to come through first. I can't tell you what this guy here is doing. I know Erskine was on the search team that found, you know, his niece and Libby and Belfi. I have no explanation for this whatsoever. I'm not going to try to explain it. There's not a lot of people in that town. People do a lot of things I don't know. And then they said, you know, they threw the guy something. I can't tell what's going on, but guys at work told me his bunker pants are open, you have Velcro in the clip, or his flashlight was on. And that guy was telling him, oh, hey, your pants are open, or oh, hey, your flashlight's on. Why that guy was looking at that region of Erskine, I can't explain. But I'm not convinced what was going on, but I know he's not handing him something. You know, it doesn't appear that he's handing him, you know, some people say maybe he's handing him something. And, you know, people are looking for explanations for this to make sense. So I'm not really faulting them for that, but like, don't take my word. Ask another fireman. Just send it to someone else and see what they say. And you're going to say the same thing.
Well, I mean, I know what you're talking about where they're handing off. Now, did you see that right there?
That guy right there?
What is that fireman coming out with? What?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't paying attention there. Let me go back.
Right there. You see that?
The guy that walked from left to right?
Nope, this is before that. Watch the front door.
Right there?
No, watch. Right there. You see that?
Or a couple seconds. I'm a couple seconds behind you, I think. Yeah. Look, could easily be a little girl.
I think it is a little girl. That's the first time I caught that.
That's the first time I caught that too. Yeah. Yeah. Many times I watch this. It's crazy. Many times I watch this video. That's why you need all these people looking at this.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though. They took Yoda out first. That's a little girl. That's one of the girls.
And we're still ahead of what we think's the Yoda extraction.
Right. So that must not be Yoda. That must be another one of the girls, maybe the oldest.
What? Write down this time for me here on this.
Sure.
Whatever this is on the video, so I could go back after.
Sure.
Yeah, many times as I watched that, I didn't know. That's a great catch by you.
Yeah, I don't miss much. I'm a nosy prick.
That certainly appears to be what that is to me, though. I can't imagine what else that would be.
Let me go back one more time, because that's what it looks like to me.
Is there anyone on the chat that could make that bigger? Or that's right before. Okay, so that's right before Erskine. I know where that is. Then I don't know the exact time, but
it's on 1606.
Yeah, I can't think for the life of me what else he would be carrying out that would be. You know what I mean? That would look like that. There's nothing you'd be carrying out like that.
Yeah, 1606. But here's hi Linda K. Hi Jennifer.
Yeah, I can't believe they released that on a dash cam. My assumption was they stopped before anybody came out.
Yeah.
3 of the girls came out together and 1 came out later, a little bit later, but wow, that's wild.
Right.
Right here, it's bizarre. Like, listen, I don't know why he's looking there. The guys that I work with think that he was unbuttoned or his flashlight was on. But again, you could be helpful not telling this guy his stuff's undone. You could be helping. I don't know.
Well, did anybody ask him? That's what I'm curious about.
Did anyone ask?
Erskine, what was that all about? Because that seems to be a big topic.
Yeah, I would think someone has had to have asked him by now, or he has to, have said, oh, no, this is what was going on or whatever, but especially with all the momentum that this is gaining right here. So we're going to have to look at this when the big giant, I don't make fun of people, I'm 6'3", but the big giant fireman goes from right to left. Who are they pulling out then? It's because it's not supposed to be, it's supposed to be what, Yoder? Then the girls, right?
Well, and I'm just being honest here. Until you pointed that out to me, I never really paid much attention to it. Mm-hmm. But I was under the impression that Dissinger is the one that pulled Yoder out before any of this. Yeah.
Well, that's what the person that I was talking to before just said the same thing. So, but everything that I've read was the 3 of the girls came out, then they had to go back and get, or was it 1 and then 3, or there was 3 together, then 1. I might have that backwards, but
right here's what you're talking about. It's coming up right here.
Okay. Yeah, you'll see it quick. You'll see, she walks back, and then another guy comes. You'll see a fire gear, black uniform, and they're pulling somebody out.
I'll pause it right there. See, he's coming out the door. If you look at the fireman that's coming out the door right now, you can tell that he has somebody, but it could be the oldest sister. Did you guys catch that? You can definitely see that he's got somebody.
There's a fireman that'll appear too, because you can see the flashlight on the helmet if you go back. Or someone in fire gear. See the flashlight?
Yes. Yes. So if that's one of the girls, that's girl number 2 that we can see anyways.
Yeah, because let's be honest. There's no way that Yoder wasn't a big guy, but that fireman wasn't carrying Yoder out like that.
Yeah, that's a juvenile.
I think everyone could agree to that. Yeah,
that's a juvenile.
And I can't think of anything else he'd be carrying out that would look like that at that point in the fire.
Right. Nothing. Now, why would they release dashcam of victims? I don't understand.
I don't understand that. I assume we talked, and I assume that I talked to the other person that I was talking to before I talked to you, and I said they're going to stop it. I assume that's right when they got them there. Dude, that's it. I mean, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
We caught here. I watched this video. I probably watched this video 50 times. I've watched it. So many guys have watched it. That's who turned me on to this. This was the first actual rescue that I saw. So that's why I'm figuring. And the other thing is, too, you're going to encounter Yoder and Dissinger before you get to the girls, because they should be trapped between the front door and wherever the girls are, I would assume.
Right.
So,
and dude, I do not have a dog in this fight. I don't. I'm all about the truth and what I see, and rational thinking and critical thinking. To me, hey, Mother of Dragons, to me, if that is the girls, it doesn't excuse it. It does not excuse it, but it makes me understand a little bit more why it doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency. They know that they already got to the girls and they're coming out. There's nothing else they can do in there to help. 3, 4 people need to go in to get the victims, and that's it. But I'm going to go back to that point, that 1606. Well, actually, let's go back here, because I remember somebody telling me, here's where he's leaving the fire department and coming back. And let's see if we can watch and see Yoda getting dragged out by Dissinger.
And on the way back, you see the volunteer fireman coming to the station, who I believe the computer guy is waiting on. The guy that says, I only work on computers or whatever.
Right.
That'd probably be his car there. This police car that's parked here is, you probably can tell better than me, it's off duty. No one's in it. Here's the volunteer that's coming in with his truck. And I'll show you the point that they arrive. I can see the red light in one of the reflection there. But yeah, we really got to watch for this, because that's crazy. As many times as you come over stuff and you see something, that's why it's good for all these eyes to be on it. Even people think I could disagree with everything I say. If they give me one thing that I didn't notice before, it'd be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mother of Dragons is saying hello to you, Kev.
Oh, hello. I can't see it I'm watching on a TV muted, so I'm not on my phone, so I can't see any comments. So if anyone says anything to me, I don't know why it isn't coming up. Usually live chat will come up on my TV. But yeah, if anyone has anything, I'm not able to see it right now.
Oh, I thought you could see it, because there's been like 4 or 5 people that came in and said, I'm leaving. That Kev guy's a jerk. So I've already lost subscribers and viewers and all that.
People have called me worse, and I've deserved this times. But
just today,
okay,
right?
Hold on a second. Successfully connected. Oh, just today.
Yeah.
Well, I usually don't piss this many people off by supper time, but it's 1 or 2. But
I would love it if they did that, dude.
I'm up now. I could see.
I would love it if people did that. It's like the trash taking itself out.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody watching in here too. Go over this when you have time and really look at this, because it's. You don't want to kick myself in the butt for not seeing that, but you literally got to focus at that door the whole time.
And I'm just being honest here. I mean, I just was watching it and caught it, but that's the first time I've heard anybody say anything about one of the girls being taken out.
No, not on the video. And again, I'm kind of shocked if that's the case. That from all appearances, for me watching that, it certainly looks like that's what it is. That they would release that on the video.
Yeah. All right. There's Yoda going in. He just went in, and he hits that door quick. He's not even all the way knelt down.
Yeah. That's an experience. That's how experienced firefighter goes in. But do we ever see Dissinger go in, or was Dissinger in there the whole time?
I'm not sure. I didn't see him go in, but so he didn't have an SCBA though before Yoda got there, right?
I don't know. I asked people that before. Who I was talking to before, I asked, can we be sure he did or didn't have an air pack? And if he did not have an air pack, how the hell did he survive? And I can see the flashlight. If you go back a step, you can see him on the steps. You'll see the right angle flashlight in that window that goes up to the landing there. So that they made it to that point. And again, notice the smoke, thick black. It's hard to see because it's night. And this is a video from 2017, ain't the greatest. But it's black smoke. There's no water put on it yet. And that's just something to help you maybe, I don't know, if you're watching other videos and you're able to read smoke. We actually have 16 hours on, what do they call it? Reading smoke or something like that. It tell you different things. They'll backdraft warning, flashover warning, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, whoever's in charge of the fire, the ranking fire official there, I know that, and I just recently learned that they are a certain distance away so that they can watch the smoke. That tells them everything.
Yeah, you're supposed to. See, here goes this guy that crawls in and crawls out. And I think, honestly, I'm going to call anyone out. I think his asshole just puckers. He says, oh, shit. But okay, you say, oh, shit, I can't get in. Then you get a ladder. You get multiple ladders. You get a ladder up the side of one of that house on that porch roof. Then you get ladders up to where you think you saw those policemen last, too. You could put one up over here on this side. But well, what did you just say? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. Not anything as good as what you're saying, that's for sure.
You were saying something, and I had a comment. I wanted to say it, and I said something first, and I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. That's okay. There's several firefighters on the porch. Now, what do you think that they discussing the game
They're waiting
plan?
for a line. They're
Okay.
not going in till they have water.
Okay.
That's what I think, that this guy that keeps crawling in and out, he only gets so far. He said that we can't go in. We know that the police are in there. We know that they're down or whatever's going on, but they're waiting for water to go in. They made that decision. You can see the hose right there. You see the hose?
Yeah.
He got the knot on his hand. He's going to either give him the thumbs up or, like I said, the home run sign, which is one finger in the air and you spin it around. And then obviously the darkening down.
Now, if you want, I can put the audio on. I just hate to hear Galen screaming. It's upsetting.
I don't think that's necessary because, to be honest with you, like, unless you are a fireman, and more specifically, you spend a lot of time pumping or being the engineer, you're not even going to understand what that sound is. Like my brother, okay, he's a attorney general agent. So we have shot spotter in our town, and they go off a couple times a day. And he's like, oh, I can tell the difference between this kind of round and this kind of round. And I'm like, how in the hell can you tell the difference? But he can. He can't tell the difference between the RPMs going up on a pump panel. So some things, job specific that you have, you might be able to tell the difference in rounds. Can you? If you hear a round go off?
Yes, absolutely.
I can't. They all sound like pow pow to me.
Absolutely. I can tell you what grain it is, because some of them, they have different grains depending on what kind of projectile there is.
Wow, that's impressive. But to me, I would never be able to do that. But at a fire scene, I can tell when my pump's in trouble. If I'm inside, I can tell when they're running out of water, just from the sound of it. And that's like everyone's specific to that. Whatever your job is, there's certain things that you can tell, little niches about it that no one else can. And the sound of the fire scene are one of the things that I'm 21 years experienced at.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not just me, it's everybody.
Four Pitbulls says that Randall, Ives, and Ayers equals crime. I think at the very least, Four Pitbulls, at the very least, obstruction. They're all guilty of obstruction. But I'd imagine you can throw arson, larceny.
At the very least, Four Pitbulls, if they're not in it together, I'm sure they've done some things on their own, because I will not tell people to back down off of that, the after cover up or whatever happened, because there's something there. I can't find any stats. You go in the Department of Homeland Security or Department of Homeland Defense for Indiana, and there's statistics for all kind of stuff. Carroll County isn't even listed. Like, you can't even click on the dialogue box. I was on there a couple weeks ago. So it's, what's happening? Like, what is the government going to come in and just arrest everybody one day? Is that what's happening? Like, I hope, but maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, kid, I don't know who approved this release. I wouldn't think that they would release something that shows, especially since we now know they're deceased victims.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either, kid. Meow said the video is released with Galen's approval and ISP's unapproval. Well, so
I have not seen Yoder being dragged out yet.
Okay.
Have you?
Yeah. No, I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm really going to sit and watch this later. I get distracted like when a puppy or something shiny walks past. So I'm mounting them up on the comments. Kid, I wasn't sure of that. However, if Meow said that, I would believe her. I would think that she would know that. I haven't heard that yet. That's very interesting though, for sure.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned about Kid so far is he doesn't say things just to say them. He's usually pretty confident.
So could the family have released this video to the news station? Is that what's what they think happened?
Yeah, they're saying that Galen approved it. They
Does
had
she
her
have the
approve
power
it.
to approve that legally? I mean, if this is like you're not allowed to talk, and is that able to happen? I don't know the legalese of that.
Well, I think she's not at the bottom of who needs to approve, but if law enforcement, they could not release it, as we're finding out with all these other cases. If it's under investigation, they can hold it and seal it. But they obviously decided that it was not, and then they probably talked to her, at least, out of respect, to
Yeah,
ask her if it was okay. I don't know
I
if
see
it's
what
mandatory, but
I see what Lisa has. It says that Fox 59 asked Galen, so maybe Fox 59 got it, and however they got it, hey, we're going to hear, but let's ask Galen first. And locally or Indianapolis, I don't know a lot about news, but that guy for Fox 59 seems to be pretty tenacious. That investigative reporter, I don't know, his name's Steve. They got gray hair and glasses. He's been doing all this stuff, so yeah, maybe that's possible.
hmm. Yeah, well, anything's possible. I don't discount or
Yeah.
discredit anything because I was not there, and I've
Another
learned the hard way.
conversation. I was in a conversation about Delphi and another group where someone mentioned the theory that I had never thought of about the district attorney, and I said, "Holy shit! The more I know, the less I know."
Yeah,
It's crazy, and I understand why these people they'll come up with these conspiracies, but like you don't know anything. They're not telling you anything. You know cover-ups going on, so they're leaving people to guess. Maybe you should have put out more information. I don't know, but all this stuff was obviously handled wrong. Doug Carter said in a press conference the early days after this wasn't ISP's best days. He said that. What happened there? Then you had the other detective that said we have solid persons of interest 2 years after this. Then it goes away, and then 6 years later, the data comes out. So we're making progress as far as getting the word out and putting pressure where it needs to be put. And even people that disagree with me, I still appreciate them covering this because hopefully there's a resolution. And at the end of the day, it's not about any of us, about justice for the four girls. And I won't entertain that Galen did this because there's zero zilch proof of that. I know some people have stated that. I don't see that at all. I don't understand the disconnect between Doug Carter and the family. It's possible that someone in the family, we just had that, yeah. It's possible someone in the family is causing that disconnect on her.
Look, that's a girl as well. So that's one.
Yeah, that's the original. Oh shit! Go back. We missed that. There's two of them. Go back.
Yeah, so there's 3 total that came out that we can see on this.
I can't imagine that Yoder was taken out a
Right
different
there.
door than that, with the fire being in the back. That's crazy. We caught 2 here. Holy shit!
Yeah, but that's one,
Yeah, I'm with you.
right?
Get out of the way. Zipper, and get out of the way, Erskine.
Wow, this is crazy, huh?
That's crazy that we saw. I can't believe as many times I watched this that I didn't see that. So glad I did this with you today. I mean, I haven't heard anyone else talking about this, and I'm kind of shocked that they released that on a dash.
I wish the camera was better.
Now, here's the other question with Dissinger's vehicle. I know it was parked across the street, but could that camera have picked up them after leaving the porch and where they went to after that? And why isn't that released?
Yeah, I don't know how wide that dash cam is, but there's at least with the dash cams now. I don't know what they were like in 17. I retired in 08. They're pillar to pillar on the windshield. So,
whereas firemen call that post to post, we call that the A post.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. As many times I watch this, that's what I mean. You said it to me the other day. You learn something for everybody.
Yeah, that's why, I've learned the hard way. I don't shut anybody down. I mean, they're passionate for a reason because they really believe what they're talking about. But when it gets to a point where I tell them, listen, you're not going to change my mind, well, then we're done talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, just let it go. And they just keep coming at me with it. And then the name calling starts and all that. And I just can't. That does nothing. That doesn't
You
help
just
anybody.
leave it aside and keep fighting the fight together. You know, everyone wants the same goal and say, on this issue, here we go. Gee, there's three coming out total, whatever, who's ever who.
Yeah. So 3. We've seen 3 of the girls come out.
Although that one there that they're carrying, there's 2. That was the fireman and the someone in black. So I assumed that was Yoder. And again, that was caught by a deputy chief at work. And I assumed that. And I also assumed that they wouldn't show the girls on the dash cam.
Well,
Yoder's going to be between the front door and the girls. So they're going to get him out first. So that's why I assumed that. But I didn't see the other things that you just pointed out either, though. Neither did my guys.
but we know for a fact that Yoder came out before any of the girls.
Yeah, based on what they've released, yes.
Right. So we know for a fact that we just saw one of the girls getting taken out before that second one who you thought was Yoder. So that second one has to also be a victim.
Is there, I'm looking at the house. I don't see any other way. Like, I didn't see them attacking from anywhere else. I can't imagine he would even have been in the kitchen back area where the fire was at, because the girls weren't back there, so he wouldn't have been searching there. So how else would they have gotten him out if we don't see, you know what I mean? Like, it's so
Yeah.
frustrating.
But it's hard, to Monday morning quarterback on people. Now, the fire chief was there.
Yes.
So he was the one making the calls. So he's the one that needs to answer for it. But he resigned.
Yes. And the fire chief also it told some lies prior to the 911 call getting released. And Galen made the comment that whenever she was screaming for help, there was a fireman that was standing there before everyone else. He had all his gear on and he was just staring at her, and he didn't do anything.
Right.
And she said it was Randall, it was the chief. And he said later, no, it wasn't him. And then he had said something about her. I forget what it was. Meow told me, but it proved to be a lie on the dash cam. So, like, I believe what she says, not necessarily what he says, because the video showed me what she said was correct and true and honest.
Right. Well, I mean, there's 2 things. Video doesn't lie. That's why it's the best direct evidence. And the facts do not give a fuck about your feelings.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay, Lisa's asking about how they vented, basically breaking the windows. Everybody was going apeshit over that. Why are they breaking windows? And to dude, I was right with him. I was saying the same thing. It's like common sense. You don't break the windows. You don't bring oxygen into a fire. That's fuel. You might as well throw gas on it. But I've since found out that that's wrong. So could you explain to everybody about the positive pressure and the vertical and horizontal venting?
Yeah, a couple of different things on that. So first of all, I didn't understand what they were doing either, okay? Because when you break windows, you have to break them in a certain way. One of the rules of thumb is when you have victims and you upstairs, you don't break windows underneath, right? Because we all know where smoke and heat goes. It goes up. So you're going to inject, and it is an accelerant. It's not like you would think like gasoline or diesel. Oxygen is an accelerant, and it's worse than diesel, and it's worse than gasoline because oxygen, there's a never-ending supply outside that window. So it'll feed that fire until there's nothing left to burn in the house. You need to break windows in accordance with the hose team inside or ready to go inside. So these guys have a hose. They're already in a building. You're breaking behind them. Okay, you're letting that stuff out behind them. They're going to push it out. What you could also do is break a window on the other end of the house and push the fire and the smoke out that window. But that has to be coordinated. You can't just walk around breaking windows, because this is what happens. So this was not a coordinated effort. This fire got vastly out of control because the windows were broke the way they were, because water wasn't put on, maybe as quick as they wanted it to be put on, or maybe it should have been put on. And, the other thing with positive pressure is you have to have a fan. It doesn't occur by itself. You're creating the positive pressure with it's called a PPV fan. YouTube has tons of videos. They're a great weapon, but they're dangerous. If you don't have guys inside that know that fan's getting turned on and you're working together inside and outside, you're going to kill victims and you're going to kill firemen. It's happened. People have used the fan incorrectly. You're basically controlling the flow of the air through the house. Because until you do that, the fire is deciding where the air goes, and it's sucking it toward it. Now, if I could blow it past the fire or to the side, put the fire out and keep that air away from it, there's a lot of different things you can do, and that's all horizontal ventilation. Vertical ventilation, you go up and you cut a hole in the roof, which sucks because it's dangerous, and no one wants to be on the roof with fire gear and a chainsaw while the house is on fire underneath you. So most places use vertical ventilation instead. Or horizontal, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, as a firefighter, if you can control the smoke and which way the fire's going to some extent, I mean, there's no way you can 100% control it, but at least so you can have a game plan on how to fight the fire, especially if there's victims in there.
Yeah. There's also ways to like pull the fire away from the victims and kind of to you. You're not going to be taught that in any class. You're taught that from grizzled old veteran firemen. Hey, kid, you might try this, but it's dangerous as hell, and you better be, quick as can be, or else you're not going home at the end of your shift. So that's possible. Those guys weren't doing anything like that. And again, there's no fan at the front door, so they can't say they were trying to use positive pressure. All they were doing was introducing an unlimited supply of oxygen into that fire. And whatever window you break, the fire goes to that window, as you see. On them guys on the porch, it's licking their hats because the fire's going wherever the oxygen is. And that you can use that against the fire, or you could feed the fire with it, like unfortunately happened here.
Right. Right.
We use that more for blowing out people's houses to burn food. Because if you close all the windows in a house and you open one window, like in the downstairs, say, or burn something in the kitchen, you could see the smoke channel out the house. It's unbelievable how it works. If multiple windows are open, it doesn't work as well.
I got you. Well, I'm here to tell you, dude. I've dealt with a few thick smoke and fire situations. And I'd rather get in a shootout against 3 people than fuck with a fire. But I do know this. I do know that I will do it because I have done it. But like you, I'm all about helping people. Not you don't even think about it. You don't.
Yeah.
Your training kicks in, doesn't it?
That's all you remember. We were talking about that yesterday, and after I got off the phone with you, I said, "Oh, damn, I wanted to." We were talking about your adrenaline kicks in, and you don't think about what you did till after. Maybe you guys were, in your patrol cars, meeting driver's side door to driver's side door. Like, man, can you believe we did that shit? We're at the firehouse, all dirty, drinking coffee. Like, man, we're idiots. Can you believe that? You don't realize it. So once your fight or flight spikes and your adrenaline kicks in, whatever your encryption is in your brain or whatever your training is in your skills, you fall back on that subconsciously almost. That's part of my psychological angle that I always like to bring in. But I learned that. So, like, you basically, like, when all hell breaks loose, your training kicks in. I was never in the military or anything like that, so I can't even pretend to know what those guys go through. But guys that have been in the military that I work with, when the shit hits the fan, they say, you don't even know. It's like, you're like a robot. That's what they want you to be. You don't have emotions. You're boom, I got a job to do, and this is what it is. Later on, we think, oh, shit, that could have ended bad, but it doesn't mean we're heroes or anything like that. We're doing a job like anyone else is doing.
That's
Our
right.
job's just pretty crazy, but, I don't want to work in an office. I'm not that kind of guy. So here I am.
Let's see who snuck in. We got Mama Bear. How you doing? Digital. Vanessa and D. Welcome aboard. Could one of you guys put
everybody for coming in too?
Could one of you guys put the link to Coach Kev's Talks True Crime for me, please? Get some people subscribed to his channel as well. But and I'm sure you understand what I'm about to say too. When you have training, like in-service training, yearly training, where you go for 2 or 3 days and they have blocks on everything, you think you're not paying attention. You're totally fucking off. You're off in la la land. But, dude, I had to use the very first time that I had to physically use CPR on somebody. Man, that shit just kicked in. And afterwards, I was
Yeah.
like, I know for a fact that I never paid attention during that class. But you go through it year after year after year after year, and
Yeah.
it just sinks in somehow just because you're in the room, you know?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, when they were teaching you CPR, let's take an opportunity to teach everybody this. They were teaching probably 2 rescue breaths and compressions. Now they only teach compressions. That's what they show us. And when you do CPR, I don't know if you ever heard this before, but hopefully we can teach somebody something today. Hopefully you never have to do CPR, because I'm sure you could tell it sucks. But you do it to the BG staying alive. So you make your little hand cross, you find that rib area, that bottom piece, you put your palm on it, and you sing staying alive, that uh, uh, that's the rhythm that you use when you do CPR. That's what we're taught now.
Hey, listen, don't feel bad. I can't sing either.
Oh, was it that bad?
No.
I
No.
hope you don't lose any subscribers. I won't sing anymore.
No, I'm just
See
being
that
a
red
dick.
stuff right there? See that red stuff right there? I was asking someone today what they thought that was. I asked other firemen what they thought that was. They thought possibly that could be an accelerants were stored up there, like paint or something like that, and it broke out. But I can't explain that red. It's nothing firefighting wise. You're not going to put on there. The foam's not going to leave that. Nothing's going to leave that.
Now
Speaking of foam, good.
that is asbestos lap siding.
Okay. That explains it.
Yeah, I don't know what
That's
color
nasty
asbestos
shit.
burns at, but asbestos is supposed to be fire retardant. That's why they used it in pipes and buildings and all that. But yes, that is definitely asbestos lap siding.
Oh, that's nasty stuff.
Yeah, that's toxic.
Yes, very toxic, and especially once it off gases. Well, we always learned what asbestos was. Like if you leave it alone, and like just leave it alone. But once it gets oxygen or gets broken open or fire catches, now they have to do the abatement, and it's really dangerous. It's for us too, even after the fire's out.
Yeah.
Being exposed to that.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys,
And
if you go check Kev's channel out, it's very cool. It seems weird for me to say this, but he's pretty new to the true crime family on YouTube. It feels weird for me saying that because I'm also new, but I'm like a month. Been here a month longer than Kev has, so we're both rookies, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I did New Year's Eve. I did a little thing talking about Delphi, and like I said, that because of my occupation, and the information, there's great resources. Meows 8 Dogs, kind of like I almost want to call it the librarian of this. She has so many great resources. So many people have great videos. We were in 2 chats last night. Frank and Marvis covered this. Randy covered it last night. So many really good videos about it. But just, a couple of the things I just want to make sure, that this just clearly, things that people see and try to explain, just trying to help you with that and focus on what we need to focus on. However, the overall pressure is working. There's no way they would have released this video, or somehow that Fox 59 got their hands on this video if this people weren't talking about this case. Maybe since there's an arrest in Delphi, people are moving over here, although that's a story for another day, what's going to happen there. But I encourage anyone, send this to firemen, even if you agree with what we're saying, just like, look at this shit. Can you believe this? And they're going to show their friends, and they're going to get pissed off, and they're going to talk about it. Maybe they make a video, maybe they share content. Doesn't have to be mine, anyone's video, just for awareness of this. And we talked about that. They were talking about the house standing, what an eyesore it is, and I don't live there and have to go past it every day. But part of me hopes a jury gets to walk through there this year.
Yeah. Let me.
Maybe I'm being foolish, but
I'm gonna take this video fast forward, or I may have to rewind it a little bit because I have a question for you, fire related. Here we go. I can pause it right there. That door is the back door that goes to the mudroom, back porch, they call it. To the left is the garage, the single car garage. The car's parked in front of it there, that blue car. So they're saying that door was open, and also the inside door that went into the kitchen was also open. They used that room for storage. I have pictures of that room post-fire, where you can see they drilled out about 4-inch holes with a hole saw to take samples to be tested for accelerants. And nothing looked like accelerants we use, not to me anyway. But you could see where the fire went up the inside wall. So the far wall from that door, so the wall between the kitchen and that mudroom, was really burnt. How the hell it didn't go upstairs from there is beyond me. Can you explain that? That roof wasn't damaged on that room or anything.
Well, that door, and I've asked people this before when I first started getting on this. I needed the weather reports for that day. Was it windy? Was it not windy? Because that makes a huge difference. Heat and snow are less of concerns for firemen. Winds are our number one enemy. We'll fight fires in any kind of weather, lightning storms, wind's the worst. So what can happen there, and that door's open, so you have any kind of wind, and you have a fire going. Fire almost is creating a vacuum because it's trying to grow. So it's sucking all the air out of anywhere it can suck it out of. Okay? These are balloon frame buildings. I'm going to guess that structure was put on after. Do you think that's put on after the original building? Even if it isn't, that back structure, do you think it's an after?
Oh, definitely.
After the original building? Okay.
That's an add-on. Okay. There's no doubt.
And again, we've talked balloon frame construction. So what can happen is, let me explain balloon frame real fast and easy. I'm no architect, but basically the floorboards don't go all the way to the exterior walls. There's a void or plenum space, and how maybe 6 inches, maybe 3, maybe 5, depending on when they were built, and it'll run all the way up to the attic in the beginning or to the top of the house. What it also can do is it'll go up and it can suck in that next floor. Instead of going up, it'll fill fire and smoke on that next floor before it goes to the attic, because there's also an opening there. So as that fire goes up, it's looking, where can it go? The reason it might have not went through that roof is because that back door was open enough, and if the door inside was open enough, it was creating a draft, literally pulling that fire through the middle of the house.
Okay.
It almost looked like, initially I thought someone walked through and poured an accelerant through that traffic area of the house where everybody walks, because the fire looked like it was in the middle of the house. But that's possible that could have just, that draft, those two doors being open, creating that suction coming through, could have steered it there, and the balloon frame could have played into why it traveled the way it did.
Right. I don't know how fire reacts to things. I have no idea about that kind of stuff. But it makes total sense. Total sense. I'm just looking here, Kev. Just real quick. I'm looking at the foundation and trying to see, because that may not be an addition unless the front porch is also an addition, which it may well be.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell. I know that they revamped it from a single family dwelling to multiple, which we have a lot, and that's, I commented in someone's live last night. That's very dangerous for us because there's little void spaces and rooms that aren't supposed to exist. And the doors, the way the doors open, open them a certain way. That's bullshit. That's egress. That's right there should stop you from getting paid for anything. You admit that in a deposition, that you block the egress of people. It doesn't matter where they die in that structure. That house was not safe to begin with. So
right.
That's insanity to me. Like, how is that even? There's no building code in the world that's allowing that.
Yeah.
You got to know how to open the door. It's bullshit. Fix the door. You got to know how to open the door.
Well, here's the thing. Even when I was full time with law enforcement, I had a kitchen remodeling job on the side, and dude, it's crazy. And that house is old. Every person that's lived in that house, you don't know what the hell they've done. I've seen some electrical work that is crazy, and the homeowner did it. They didn't pay somebody to do it. They just did it,
Yep.
And so you don't know. There's not one person that can say this was not an electrical fire or it wasn't an accidental fire. There's not one person that can definitively say this was arson. So it's an enigma. This thing is so fucked up, and somebody over there that sits in a chair most of the day needs to step up and say, listen. Now, here's my question for you, though. Doug Carter said that it wasn't a good day for ISP. ISP wasn't involved with fighting this fire, were they?
Well, I guess he said in the days after.
Okay,
It
so
was, it
their
wasn't the best.
investigation.
I could send you, yeah, I could send you. It was definitely about the investigation. Yeah, so it wasn't our best day. And I remember rewinding that, like, what? How did I miss that before? Like, that's, what did they do wrong? And why did Randall want to steer it a certain way? Then the other thing was, the emails. When the email was sent from the investigator that says this dude didn't use any science to make his conclusion. And again, Randall was the guy, correct me if I'm wrong, there was accelerants everywhere. That was the original from Randall, right? The old man, the fire chief's dad.
Yeah, Dennis.
Yeah, he said there was accelerants everywhere. So for the people that say there were accelerants everywhere, that's what Dennis Randall said.
Yeah, he
And
said,
I don't
well,
know Dennis Randall, but I'm kind of against whatever he says at this point, I think.
well, let me explain too. They had dogs in there that hit on accelerants. But the main reason that Dennis Randall said there was accelerants in there, and listen to this because it's a fact, was because Adam Ayers, who is Josh Ayers' brother, the guy that owns this property, said that he saw a 2-inch wide line of fire going through the dining room, which to you, me, anybody would scream accelerant, right? It looked like somebody poured something and lit it. So that was the main reason, because guess what? All the samples they took and sent to the lab came back negative for accelerants. The only accelerants that were found were on Deputy Yoder's clothes and hands, and that could have came from his self-contained breathing apparatus.
Well, one of the things that people, and this is one of the things that initially alerted me, like, man, maybe this Yoder guy is wrong. And that's what I thought initially. So the accelerant on the air pack, to me and to my guys, is probably the number 3 thing that we call bullshit on after a couple other things, because whether you clean your air packs off or not, you should hose them off. But if there should not be accelerant on an air pack enough to leave on the guy's uniform, even if it off gases. No one in my fire department has ever heard of any of that in their entire lives. I have guys who've been firemen for almost 50 years, volunteers and paid. None of them have ever heard of that before, that there would be enough accelerant left on that air pack that it would off gas and go onto his uniform enough that they would notice the smell at the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, that's
to
crazy.
Me, I don't know where he got it from. I'm not saying he did anything or anything like that, but that air pack excuse to me and to all my guys sounds like bullshit, because no one's ever heard of that. This might be the first case of it ever, you know? And it came from the fire chief too, right? Who said that? Who was the one that said that?
I'm not sure. But just real quick, let me say hi to Indy Pam. I hope your fur baby's okay. She had a little problem with a pet. That's why she was late. Deb's True Crime Notebook. Thank you for coming in. And Miss Thang, 65. Good to see you too. Now, if you were the firehouse chief and you knew that there were air packs or, self-contained breathing apparatus, whatever they call them. What do you call them, like, in layman's terms? You pack?
We call them an SCBA. Like I was telling you before, when people say scuba, the only difference is the U stands for underwater.
Right.
So scuba, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. We call them SCBAs, but more commonly packs. Air pack or pack is what we call it.
And here's another thing that people mistaken about. What is in that tank? Is that oxygen?
No, because if we took oxygen with us, we would have like a bomb on our back. No, it's compressed air from an air compressor. We have air compressors in our station. Some trucks have them, and they carry 45. Usually the bottles are 4,500 psi, and they're rated to last 45 minutes. But that bottle's not going to last 45 minutes. If you're doing work, you'll probably get about 20, 25 minutes out of that bottle if you're expanding energy. But it's all compressed air. It's not oxygen, because oxygen, would blow us up. So.
Yeah. Well, I would think that anybody that would allow a pack that knowingly has accelerants on it, you're basically endangering that firefighter that's putting that pack on, if you're aware of it.
Your whole fire station is going to smell. I've had a couple of times where I didn't put the gas cap on the gas can after I got gas for our PPV fan, and the gas can spills over in the truck, and you clean it out and you wipe it out. That station smells like gas for 2 weeks. you're not putting an air pack on because you smell gas. Any kind of liquid accelerant is going to have some kind of pungent odor to it. You're going to smell that. You're going to smell it in the station. You're going to smell as soon as you open that compartment up because it's so closed. And I'm going to put this on and go in a fire? I don't think so. Who was the guy that had this pack? You know what I mean? So that's hard for me to understand how it cross-contamination from an air pack. What were we cleaning with gasoline or something? Like, I don't buy that at all. And my guys, they all jumped at that. They said, what? That's horseshit. Never heard of such a thing.
Well, everybody's all over Yoder. And personally, my personal opinion is he's a good kid. And he's got balls. People are saying, oh, well, he shows up with a lot of fires, doesn't he? And they're in the middle of the night. Well, fuck yeah, they're in the middle of the night. He works midnight shift. He's young. He can't bid for day shifts yet. Well, maybe he doesn't want to be on day shift where all the brass is. I know a lot of people stay on midnights their whole career because they don't want to see the brass. But, you know, so to point the finger like that, people just are jumping all over anything to be negative about all of this, when to me Yoder is definitely a positive. People are knocking him, saying that, oh yeah, he drove fast to the fire station but then slow coming back. Well, the kid had already gone into the house, and maybe the smoke in his eyes finally started tearing up, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't see anything in his behavior that says that he is being complacent, fucking off, taking his time. Nowhere. You see him just run by the car there, and then he runs back and goes to the firehouse. Now, if he had time to get there, go in, say, fuck this, I need a breathing apparatus, go back, drive to the firehouse, and they're not already ready to go and the doors are open, you know, what the hell's going on there? You know, how did Yoda get there, go in, come out, drive to the fire department, which is almost one of their high pressure hoses? They probably could have put this fire out from the fire department fucking parking lot. You know, it's not that far away. But I'm exaggerating, but I'm just making a point that it was very close. So I have zero issues with Yoder. I want to know why he took his backpack and his face mask off. That, to me, that doesn't make sense. And he said that he heard an explosion. I would want to figure out what that was as well. That doesn't make sense. Here's the neighbors really helping out, getting their car the fuck out of there so it doesn't get any soot on it. Is
that actually their car? Because I know when I first saw this video, I'm like, I hope they interviewed whoever that was.
I don't know. I don't know whose it is. I'm making a joke here, but
well, we would hope that everybody in this video was tracked down and interviewed. Not that they set the fire, but they might have information. You hear something? Did you see something? We just hope that all these people were spoken to.
Right. Well, I'm sure they have been by now. You know, just Jesus Christ, dude, just the YouTube community is up in arms. And I know people who have done FOIAs and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be answered. There's a lot more. But coming from law enforcement, I know that they know more than they're telling us.
Yeah, and there's a possibility that people in that fire department know more than even law enforcement knows, and it was kind of like, we're going to make it look like this. There was also talk of Randall calling in an arson and kind of kept it in his camp so he could kind of control it. They didn't run that fire computer model that the Department of Homeland Defense has run, and there's nobody in the world, living or dead, that can convince me that it would not be a good idea to run that fire model. Or if they ran that fire model, it was never released. But according to the private investigator that reported all this, they were getting ready to run it. And then that Saturday afternoon, he put out a press release that it's arson against everyone's wishes that was working on it. And that's when he kind of went and, screaming to the heavens, hey, this guy's making a determination on his fire that isn't based on science. It's based on horse shit. And the errors thing, the stream, I don't know. I mean, eyewitnesses versus lab testing. I'm taking the lab testing.
Yeah. Well, there's some facts in it that I just don't like. And you can't sell me on, oh, it's a rural area. Oh, just let me address something real quick. Kid Check the Rhyme is talking about clucker juice. That's formaldehyde. And what people do is they dunk their cigarettes in it.
Juice.
Clucker, yeah. They dunk their cigarettes in it and let it dry, and then they smoke it, and it gets them high. But anybody that is stupid enough to dunk their cigarette in formaldehyde and then smoke it later, you're already a fucking retard. You don't need to smoke that to feel any dumber. You know, you're already there. You're tipping the scales at retard, you know?
Yeah, around here, people would do that with their weed. They called it wet.
Yeah.
That was like in the 90s. They're like, well, first of all, how do you even get formaldehyde? Oh, I know a guy that works at the embalming place. I'm done. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah. You know, what the fuck is wrong with people, man? Is your life that bad that you want to alter your mind state to get away from your life by smoking formaldehyde, you fucking idiot? Yeah. You know?
There's better options than formaldehyde. So you were talking before, we were talking about why his face piece was off. And the only thing that I could think of is, and I was explaining this to you, and people might not know this, but that's a positive pressure face piece. So there's constantly a little bit of air blowing. You can open up your regulator and get a full blow, but there's pressure. So if you don't have a great seal, in theory, it should push the smoke out and not let it in. So once you run out of air totally, that sucks to your face and creates a vacuum. You cannot breathe at all. Even though your environment's hot and smoky, your instincts are going to, you're going to pull that mask off because you know there's no more air left in that mask or in that line or in that bottle. So that's only a guess to what happened. Could it have been ripped off as they pulled them out? All that's possible. But again, I don't know. And, you know, he probably doesn't know if he was unconscious either. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but that's a guess that I would have.
Well, he started banging on the walls, but I mean, he was panicking.
Yeah, and then the explosion thing too. You don't, when you have that mask on, you have really bad like tunnel vision. So there's stuff that happens around you. Like I've had pieces of ceiling fall on me with my helmet on, with the mask on, and it sounded like an explosion. I didn't know what it was, and I said, "Oh shit!" And then there's a guy behind me laughing. I'm like, "Oh, a piece of the glass came down, hit you in the head. You okay?" Yeah, I'm okay. And we go back to what we're doing. So that gives you like that tunnel vision, like box effect, where you're, even though it's not covering your ears, it's like it affects your hearing and your peripheral vision. So he could have got whacked with some piece of the ceiling. The explosion I heard too, you know, way off theories, things that we've encountered. And we've encountered these in abandoned houses. People want to burn them down for insurance reasons or for whatever other reason. They're tired of seeing it. We get that a lot. It's been abandoned. The city won't tear it down. We're going to burn it ourselves. Go hang jugs of gasoline from strings. And the idea is they light the fire in the back, and the fire doesn't get real bad until they get the chance to get away. So as it develops, the string burns, the gasoline drops down onto the fire. I don't think that's what happened here because there's people in the house, but you know, those type of things happen, you know, for sure. So when people say, "Oh, they happen," they do happen. But I just don't see that happening here. Not with people home. That's my insurance. That's my problem with the insurance. It was lit for insurance reasons. People don't do that, in my experience, with people that are home. Now, I live in a community that when they burn these houses down, it's because they can't sell them. It's not because they, for whatever reason. So it could be different, but I don't see insurance professionals. I don't know if you ever dealt with any professional torches. They don't burn when people are in because they don't want all the attention from an investigation for murder or anything like that.
In Boston, we called it Jewish lightning.
Yeah, there's a guy that told me that at work that was the nickname of that, and his real last name was Rubenstein. So he was like, "I can tell you that. That's the joke." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I never heard of that before."
Yeah,
but,
see, I don't care about any of that racial stuff. I'm not racial. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not racial. If I say something that sounds racial, I'm joking.
I got to tell you this. I have some of the best white guy jokes ever written.
Yeah, exactly.
My friends, and they crack me up, and it's just like the typical, like the white guy stuff. I love it too. Hopefully one day we get to a point where everyone can laugh at every racial joke because we know it's all bullshit.
I do already.
It's funny.
I do already. Fuck everybody else. Like, for instance, you and I should collaborate because we could put our heads together and make an ass out of ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Two. Look what we found here. You found them two coming out. And like I said, nobody's talked about this. I hope a lot of people watch this video. I don't even care if you like. I hope you like and subscribe to me. But even if you don't, what we discovered here today, I haven't heard anyone else talking about. Maybe they could take it and expand on it. Maybe, you know, your people like Meow and them people, Randy, people that are into it, Frank and Mark, pick it up, expand on it. Is there anyone that could blow that picture up for us? I certainly can't. That we could see exactly what's going on, not to publicize it, but just send it to us so we could say, okay, this time this is who came out. This is who came out. You know, I wouldn't want anyone to blow those pictures up and to share them of those girls. But, you know, you assume law enforcement has that.
They absolutely do. Hey,
Yeah,
Jerry. Jerry snuck in on me. He's my Boston buddy. I didn't even see him come in. Good to see you.
Sox fan.
Yeah, he's a Sox fan. I used to work for the Red Sox.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I wore a three-piece suit and worked the locker room and dugout.
You weren't working whenever Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck robbed it, were you?
No.
that
was fictitious. That was fictitious. As a matter of fact, Fenway's really changed. When I worked there, the Green Monster, there was no monster seats. They've done a lot to it since I left. Well, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. I know how old I am. We're talking back in 1990 when I worked there. That was a while ago. Hot minute. Now, let me put you on the spot here a little bit, Kev. Now, I know it's difficult because we already know everything that's going on here. But if you pulled up on this scene, what would you have done? What would have been your actions?
Well, again, I'm not an officer, but I've, you know, could serve in that capacity. I'm eligible to it. So initially pulling up, what you have is you have a mom screaming in the street saying, my children are here. That's a definite, you can trust that. You can see her emotion. You can trust that. It's the middle of the night. I can tell you they're in that room right there. Okay? If you can go through the front door and up the steps, that's your best bet because that's the easiest way. It's the most common way in and out of the house. Even if that's happening, there should be a ladder going to that window too. It's not just for the girls, but for the firemen that are getting up in that room. Because they might get up in that room and do their search and not be able to come down the steps. So even if for some reason no one's in that room, a fireman get out from that ladder. That's called vet enter search. You could put the ladder up. You could even break the window with the ladder. You wouldn't be able to do it here because of the porch room. You go up, you break the window, you crawl, you find the door, you close the door to the room, and then you begin to search the room. It gives you a little bit of time, and you eject or extract anyone out the window, as opposed to going back down if the conditions have deteriorated underneath you.
Okay. See, I agree with that, and I hate to Monday morning quarterback, like I said, but I have another question for you. Have you seen the layout of that house? You know how their bedroom is basically a set of stairs that goes up to a single bedroom, a small hallway and a single bedroom. So I know, I mean, because it acts like a chimney at first. So the smoke was going up there and filled that area. Now, what happens when that gets filled with smoke? Does that create a pressure pushing smoke back down?
If it fills with smoke, and eventually we know now that fire can travel through smoke. Okay, fire can travel through smoke. A lot of people don't know that. When I first got hired, that was like a revolutionary idea. They've since proven that. But all those superheated gases, it's going to warm up, and that smoke's going to be so thick that you're like one or two gulps of that, you're just not going to come back from that until something opens up. So that fire could have been oxygen deprived and waiting for those guys to come in. If they would have broken out the windows, they could have got in and attacked it right away before it flashed, coordinated a window break behind them, and put the fire out. However, it's my belief that by the time that they got in there, that I don't know if they would have been able to save the girls or not because of the amount of that toxic smoke that they inhaled already to that point. And, you know, whether they were alive or deceased at that point, you know, I don't know if it would have mattered because it took so long for them to get there and finally get in to do something. If they went in when Dissinger and when Yoder went in, I think they maybe possibly could have had a chance, but even then it might have been, you know, it might have been too late. But that's going to be just an environment like hell, of hot. You can't see anything. You don't see flames, but it's just pushing pressure, black, thick smoke, and the human body just can't stand that. One or two inhales of that, and it's also the thermal damage done to your lungs too. It's not just, you know, carbon monoxide thermal damage as was in their autopsy. So that's all what happens there. But
well, that's how they can tell if they were alive. You know, because they would have that damage in their lungs.
You have that in your tract in your lungs, yeah. And then sometimes what we were talking before too with people that expire before the thermal burns, like whatever part of their body that's on the floor or on a bed will be unburnt. And the
Right.
rest of them will, we unfortunately had a terrible fire where 4 kids and a mom and a grandpa were killed by an asshole, a drunk, and had a vendetta, lit paper towels, threw it on the couch in the middle of the night. And we had to remove those people from that house. And that's, it's
Yeah.
something that stays with me too, but you can see, using that tragedy to learn, you can see like it's almost like the body that's onto the floor is like almost pristine, and then their shape will be on the floor of the bed. It won't be covered with certain stuff like that. So it's
Right.
I don't want to try to guess that, but it's just you hope that it was quick, a couple gulps, and but it would have been the conditions would have been absolutely hellacious in their room.
Yeah, seconds. It only took seconds.
Very fast, yeah. And because that door that they put, it used to be a hallway, I assume, where the other bedrooms are, where they split the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So everything would have been pressured in that one corner. It kind of would have went up and dispersed down the hallway both ways, which would have gave them more time also.
Sure. Hey, Willow Rain, how are you?
I'm sorry, that door might have protected the other tenants too.
Yeah.
In a weird way, Not that it was designed to do that, but
it did. It absolutely did.
Keep your doors closed when you sleep at night. I could show you pictures. I'll put some up on my community page where fire ravages second floors and you open a bedroom. There'll be a soot line at the ceiling, but that's it. So if you can, for fire safety reasons, sleep with your door closed, even that hollow wooden door is going to give you time to get outside, to get out if you have to.
Kid, check the rock. See what you started? Now Digital's wanting to know if the Ayers hardware store sold formaldehyde. Everybody's going to be trying to dunk their cigarettes in fucking formaldehyde now. That's funny. I think Digital came in at the end of that conversation is what happened. Yeah, I'm doing good, Willow Rain. I'm doing really good. Thanks for coming in. We have Coach Kev here, and he's very smart when it comes to this stuff. Now, there was one other thing that I really...
No one's ever called me smart before, but thanks.
I'm sure that nobody's called you smart. Maybe smart, but not smart. Yeah, I think you're smart.
I'm an old wrestling fan, big Kevin Sullivan fan, so that's where I get my Boston accent from.
Right on. A lot of people have a hard time pulling off a Boston accent. They try too hard. They try too hard, and that's why I can spot them a mile off. But if you took and looked at this video, I've been trying to catch it, but we've been talking. I wanted to see if we could see where Yoda got pulled out. And also, Indy Pam made a comment on something. Oh, Indy, it was Adam Ayers, Josh's brother, who also lives next door to this house. He's the one that was going around throwing rocks at the upstairs windows. It wasn't Josh. Josh wasn't at this scene at all, as far as I know.
Hey, Frank.
Frank Meister, what's going on, brother? So we've figured out now that 2 of the girls came out, and I'm going to bring it to the point. Frank, where do you see this? I don't know. Maybe Frank has already caught this and already knows.
I haven't heard anyone talk about this, and this got to go to you because I didn't see this. That's that cop eye you still got. Fireman's eyes are a little glazed over still this time of day.
That's a nosy prick eye. That's what it is. Frank, if you watch starting from here, in just a few seconds, you're going to see a fireman come out with a child.
Yeah, check us out, Frank. This is Ruckus caught this. I think there's one before this, too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is also one before. Let me go back to that one. Yeah, because that one was pretty blatant. Just kind of came strolling out. There was nobody in the way.
But that's why we need all these eyes on this, man.
Yeah, right after this guy walks away. Yeah, you can see that puff of smoke. They just put that section out.
Yeah. And for a second there, they're doing it's called hydraulic ventilation. You could flow a nozzle out a window and it'll pull the smoke out that window too. It really has to be a fog nozzle or a nozzle that's a combination that you can go from straight stream to a fog stream. But that works really, really good to get the smoke out. It's called hydraulic ventilation. You just blow the hose out the window and hope no one's standing there. You're going to get them wet, like I did the chief once.
Yeah, we've been talking so much since we saw this. I wrote down the times, but I don't know if I wrote down the time on, that I recorded this video or the timestamp on the screen there.
Yeah. Well, either or, even if it's on the screen, you can always figure it out. And again, I can't believe they released that with them in it. Like and no one saw it yet. I haven't. I look
there
at
it
it
is.
3 or 4 times a day.
There it was, Frank. This guy walks by. Now watch, Frank.
Yep.
Right there. And then the guy walks back the other way. So just remember it by that, Kev. That guy with the hat walks by left to right. Yeah.
That's the guy that was pecker checking. We call that pecker checking.
No, that's not the.
Oh, your zipper's down.
That's not the same guy.
It ain't the guy that told Erskine the zipper's down or whatever. Oh no. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's not the meat gazer. That's
meat gazer. Yes, yes. We could call him. Everyone has names in Delph. I call him Tossel Hat Man. TSM. You'll see that on Reddit. Tossel Hat Man. THM. Tossel Hat Man.
All right, so Frank, I don't know if you're watching this, but you can see right there, they're bringing out one of the young victims right there. And then if we move forward just a short time, there's the meat gazer with the white line on his hat.
That's what my guys think happened. I'm not convinced, but the guys at work saw his bottom was open.
Yeah. He's a pickle inspector.
What do you like looking there like this? I don't know.
I don't think it was his fly. There was probably something with his, like you said, with his flashlight or something.
Yeah.
All right, so that was one.
Really
that was one. Jinx said crotch watcher.
Yeah.
So that was one, Frank, right? And then the second one is when this first a female firefighter walks by, and then she comes back right to left with a larger firefighter right here. And look, see right there? Watch when this larger firefighter comes, watch the step, see? Boom, you can see it. So that's a second victim.
Yeah. That's the only one that I noticed that was showed to me actually by a deputy at work. That's the only one that I saw prior to today. I can't believe this. This is why we do this stuff. That's why everyone should be involved.
Yeah, so we know Yoda's already out at this point. So the whole thing with them saying that, oh, well, we had to rescue Yoda and Dissinger first, that's what slowed us down, that's bullshit, because Dissinger's the one that pulled Yoda all the way to the door, per the report. Curiouser and curiouser.
Is that now the report you got? Is that wrote by PD or is that the fire department times?
Dude, that could have been written by a creator for all I know. That's why I don't put, I don't put much weight on it. I've got it though. I'll look over it and I'll send it to you.
Frank and Marv do a FOIA work. They were talking about last night, and I've always been like, oh, I can never do that. They're like, we email it. I'm like, get the hell out. You can email it. Maybe they could FOIA some kind of reports or something from this. There's more information because, like, it has to be explained. I mean, what's happening here?
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't see how they approved anything that shows victims.
That's what threw me off too. But it's clear here that, like, that I as a fireman, I can't think of anything else they would be carrying out. They would look anything like that. At that point in the fire, you're not taking anything out of there anyway. You know what I mean? That's stuff like that. That's it. That's that. People and pets. And once the fire is under control, you might go back and get pictures and documents and medicine once it's safe. But you're not going to do that till shit's safe. That's a courtesy we do for people, and they really appreciate. You come out with a thing of pictures. I've seen people cry. They've lost their whole house, but here's their wedding picture, their diploma, and that's one of the good feelings we talk about. That even though they lost everything, they're thankful that you saved their pictures.
Yeah.
Those can't be replaced.
Well, here's the thing too, and like I said, it changes my opinion a bit, anyways, about their sense of urgency. Because when you were talking about, look, see right there, went from black smoke to white smoke. Good job, boys. They're on the right spot.
Yeah.
Well, it's soon after that several firefighters go in behind that person with the hose, and it's soon after that they come down with the first child. So,
Yeah.
and
If
they're
you notice that as soon as they go with the hose, they're on their hands and knees. Those guys that come in after, they're able to walk in standing up. But that was something that my guys noticed right away. Said the conditions in that room have improved. These guys are able to walk in. A couple of minutes ago, they had to crawl. So
Sure.
just that little bit of water improved that fire condition immensely, which makes you think if it was 6 or 8 minutes before or 10 minutes before, just that little bit of water, man.
Do you think the venting helped at all?
It helped the fire grow. It didn't help. No, it didn't help the firefighting. It hindered it and made it worse.
Okay.
There's no. I hate to be that guy, but there's no question that breaking windows, even early on, Dissinger breaking on, he broke. Could have been a attack. You cannot break any windows until there's somebody there. You can't just do that because it's going to make it grow. Even if you have good intentions, there's got to be a hose team that's working in coordination with you because you're breaking a window and you're saying, I know the fire is going to grow, but I'm going to get the smoking heat out, and these guys are going to blast this within seconds of me taking that window out. That's how the fire doesn't grow. If you go around, as my 9th grade basketball coach used to say, helter skelter, breaking windows out, these are the things that happen. And there's hundreds of examples of this on YouTube. If you look up firefighter ventilation fails and stuff like that, and we watch a lot of them because we learn from them. This is what we can't do, and if you do it, this is what happens.
Right. Well, let me ask you something else too. Is there electronic communications inside those masks? Is there radios? How do you guys communicate with somebody who's inside the building as opposed to somebody that's outside the building? How do you communicate to everybody?
Portable radio. You have a portable radio, and that's something I want to see too. It hasn't been released. The fire communications between everybody, what they were actually saying, because you should have that, and you should have transcripts of that. So what you do is you have a radio, and this is what we do. And I would think even in this area in 2017, they had speaker mics. So your speaker mic, some guys wear a strap and they'll have their radio in a strap, and it's actually called a Boston strap because that Boston firemen were the first guys to have them. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about. Police probably wore them too. It's a radio strap. We'll wear that underneath our coat, and we'll just flop the speaker mic out of our neck area, and we just key that mic up to talk. Or there's other ways you can do it. Some guys wear it outside their coat, and then they just go to their mic, but they're communicating on portable radios. You could communicate from the truck on the base to the portable or vice versa. But the incident commander is walking around the house with a radio, talking to the guys inside on portable radios. So nothing's in the face piece. You have to tilt your head down. And if you ever listen to firemen with their face piece on, it's hard to hear. They kind of sound like Darth Vader.
Yes.
But that's what's happening. You can go on YouTube and find that two firemen talking. So you kind of got to yell. And you hear them like, you hear the air in the background going. That's them communicating when they have their mask on.
Sure. Okay. So that's a few things. We need the general report. Not that little handwritten call out sheet that they sent out. We need the written report, the 911 transcripts, and also the radio transcripts. I mean, that would clear everything up. You should be able to suffice everything. Yeah.
Yes, was that before Yoder? It's not supposed to be, but did they take them out a different window? I saw on the other side that the windows were taken out before, but that would have to be the other apartments. I don't know. If he doesn't come out the front door, where does he come out?
Right, because the stairs, if you go in the house, there's a bedroom immediately on the left, and just after that bedroom is the stairs that go up to the bedroom immediately above it.
And one of the things that made me think that was immediately Yoder was the fact that one of the guys looked to be a law enforcement officer, had a black uniform on, didn't have fire gear on, was pulling him out with a fireman. That's what made me think that was Yoder because, okay, here's Dissinger, here's whoever else, and it's taken two of them to move them because you see the other firemen, they're carrying those girls out, basically with one arm because they were young and they weren't heavy. So that also led me to believe there's two of them pulling them out. And even the oldest would probably, those guys could have probably carried her out. But But again, where's he come out at if that's not him? It's mind boggling.
Right. Hey, Honeybee, thanks for stopping by. Well, I don't think, like I said before, I think if there's any criminal activity, it took place after the fire. Now, if it was intentionally set, which I do not believe it was at this point, I don't think it's arson. But there was no ill intent by the fire department in this, as far as I can see, especially now seeing when the victims came out. We've been led to believe that the victims didn't come out till after this video was over, that it wasn't on video. That's what I've been led to believe.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that they released this video with that happening. Is there any way possible that they didn't know at that point that was the girls coming out?
How could I see it and not them?
Well, no. Well, I didn't see it for how long. We watched it how many times, but like you would think that would be impossible that the news station would want to release, or they would at least redact that part, or whatever the case was.
You know what's going to happen, don't you?
Too, but we see what we see.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? Is my channel's going to blow up because somebody's going to say, "Yeah, Ruckus doctored that."
Oh, Ruckus doctored that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking about how we could stream. We're like Barney Rubble when it comes to technology.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank, I don't know. I just don't know. We weren't there, and until we have the radio transmission, we don't know what their plan was, Frank, how they're going to fight this fire. It doesn't appear, and that's why I say this changes my mind a little bit. I was pissed off because there was no sense of urgency. But they had obviously already had it under control enough where firefighters were upstairs in the girls' rooms already taking them out. So, and the fires appeared to be under control by then. So, but still, no sense of urgency whatsoever.
You should get a radio timestamp of that, because you'll call the fire under control, and there'll still be smoke in the building and stuff like that, but it's under control. We're doing overhaul. Overhaul is where we open ceilings up and walls up because the fire jumps behind it, but it's under control. We know where it is. We have guys in there. We call it mop up time. Go in there and mop up, make sure the fire's out. So all those things will help me. The radio transitions will help me tremendously. I can tell by the way guys talk, same as you. Like if you have someone asking for help and their voice is like, "Hey, I'm stepping on the gas because this guy needs me."
Oh, absolutely.
Someone asking, "Hey, why don't you back me up on this call here?" You can tell that from their voice, from their excitement. So all that stuff I want to hear and be able to. I don't tell the story. And again, the 911 tape, why isn't it released? The longer you hold it, the more theories people are going to come up with. And I mean, to a certain extent, I don't even blame them. Why isn't it released?
Well, dude, to me, all the assholes have resigned, skipped town, retired, whatever. Didn't lose their retirement though, did they? Them fuckers, right? They stepped down. So who is still in power that could be affected by the 911, the radio transmissions, and all that shit coming out? Who would be affected by that? It's been 6 years. Fucking let's get this done. Beholden
to someone else that was in power before, and like they feel responsible for being in their spot, and they're just covering for them. Or I don't know, but like, what could possibly be on there that they can't release that to the public?
Yeah, true. Now, Frank, and you could answer this for me. I have no idea whether or not the bodies can be moved from a fire before the coroner gets there. I don't know that for sure.
In Pennsylvania, you would be charged with abuse of a corpse. Period. End of story. I asked policemen and I asked firemen that, and they said, "Well, who the hell would ever do that?" And then I told them the story. No, you could be charged with, investigative, whatever you would be charged. Someone interrupts an investigation or stuff like that. Abuse of a corpse. Probably not abuse of a corpse, but you just ruined their investigation. You put them on the floor of the fire station, which is probably the most contaminated place on earth.
Sure.
There's spit, there's coffee, there's ashes, there's oil, there's gasoline, there's hydraulic fluid. There's whatever they used to clean the floor with on Saturday. There's probably foam. So now whatever's on their bodies could be easily attributed to, it was on the fire station floor. The other question is, if no one pronounced them dead, can a paramedic pronounce somebody dead? Because they really can't in Pennsylvania. They have to call the hospital. Even if they're found DOA, they call the hospital, they get the code 0 to have the doctor pronounce them, "Hey, this person's clearly dead." They've been dead. They're rigor mortis. They're bloated, and the doctor saying you could pronounce them. Was there a doctor on the scene to pronounce them before they moved the bodies? And
Yeah,
what did they move the
I don't
bodies
think
in?
so.
They put them
I
in a
don't know.
fire truck or an ambulance?
I don't know what the laws are in Indiana. And that's what I mean by that. This shit's so fucked up there that things that to me, are standard operating procedures, general order stuff that they don't do there in Indiana. So now, what's the protocol then? Should they have left the bodies inside the home on the beds, or can they remove them from the burning structure?
So what we do, if there's any chance that the person could be alive, we take them out and get them. You go screaming out the door, medics, and a lot of times that happens in the front yard. You don't even make it to the ambulance. The medics see us coming out with somebody, or we'll radio, and that's what will be on the transmissions. Hey, we're coming out with one. Have the medics standing by.
Now instead they were doing CPR. Where were they doing CPR?
Well, that's why maybe Bissinger's camera shows that. I don't know. They weren't doing it obviously in the camera here, but that could have happened right outside, like immediately. They could have had a stretcher right there. I don't know. But if someone's obviously dead, you don't touch anything in the room. You put the fire out, even if it's still smoldering a little bit, and you station a man at the door and say, no one comes in here. And for us, till the county fire marshal comes in, who's law enforcement, then they take over the scene and the county detectives come in to investigate. Unfortunately, we just had a news story where more people die in Pennsylvania in fires than anywhere else, as far as residents go.
Right.
And I'll send you an article about what this asshole chief said. If someone wants to be pissed at the fire chief, we got a guy for you here coming up in the next coming days. But
now I wonder if they have vicarious liability in Indiana. I don't know if they have that either, because Dennis Randall was on scene, wasn't he? And Adam Randall. They were both on scene.
Yeah, yep.
So they're ultimately responsible. They're ultimately responsible. Now, is Adam responsible because he's the fire chief, or is Dennis responsible because he's the fire inspector for Homeland Security Division?
Did ask a question a little while ago, and I forgot to. I'm bringing it up now about, do I know anyone who was criminally charged because of their actions in a fire?
Mm-hmm.
What we have here in Pennsylvania, it's a national or Pennsylvania, it's called the Good Samaritan Law. And what they have to prove, it's called gross negligence. And that could come back to you whether you kill firemen or whether you kill citizens. But the threshold for gross negligence is so high that I've never heard of a fireman being criminally charged for actions or inactions in a fire. There's a case in Michigan that subsequently was announced the same day that the Flora dashcam was announced, where they're suing two firemen for $50 million. Somewhere in Michigan, a mother lost two sons. The mayor and the fire chief wanted to fire them that day, but they couldn't. They had to go through the process. And whatever happened, these two boys were left. They said they searched the area. They didn't find them. They later were found dead, and the firemen said, well, they were in some room we didn't know it existed. But I can't imagine what they did, but what they did had to be so horrible. They're letting this case go through. That's the first that I've heard of litigation, nothing criminal, but litigation against firemen for their actions or inactions at a fire. They weren't arsonists. They showed up, and they just sucked that day. And now they're being sued for $50 million. And they lost their jobs. And that court case in Michigan was announced that it was carrying through the same day the Florida dashcam came out. Now, the Florida dashcam was announced a few days before that they were going to release it, but is that a coincidence too? Like, I don't know. Yeah. How can it be?
Dude, there seems to be a lot of coincidences in that general area, Carroll County, I mean, fucking
it's the coincidence capital of the world.
Yeah, but we have now in law enforcement, they have what's called instead of gross negligence, dereliction of duty, or conduct unbecoming, because we do have vicarious liability. The sheriff's liable for everything. But you know how I was talking about in-service training once a year? It's divided into blocks. Well, you have to sign in for all this training once a year. And do you think that the sheriff gives a fuck whether you learn anything or not? No, he wants your signature. So when you fuck up, he's going to say, no, look, we trained him just 6 months ago. He's an idiot. Sue him.
My
it's not our
fault. Yep.
Yeah, so they all do the same thing. And they'll do it in this case as well. They cover their ass. But somebody needs to fucking pay for this. And until we there's the meat gazer. Until we get the transcripts from the radio, the 911 call, and the fire department actual report on what actions were taken and stuff like that, we're kind of in the dark here. So there's got to be somebody else that's still in power, that they don't want to do any of this shit until they're done or step down, or maybe they're needed for the Delphi case or something. Who knows? Who knows at this point?
Well, you know what? That's where people like us could come in, and everyone that's commenting, push us out, share it on your Facebook, share it on your social media, and really send this to people that you know that are firemen, paid or volunteer, and let them get pissed off about it, and they'll tell their buddies, and then hopefully something bubbles up here. We're making progress. I don't think they ever would have released this video unless they felt they had to. We're making progress there, and the thing I don't understand is the disconnect between Doug Carter and Galen, the mother of the kids, are not talking. I've talked to local people. Some local people I talked to feel that maybe someone else in the family's like, maybe, hey, we don't trust the police type thing. Look, I get that. I understand. But I just can't imagine the police would be looking at, like, cover up this to help the fire department. You know what I mean? This isn't like where people allege, a cop killed a guy and the other cops are covering up as a shooting. Like you said, there have to be like 30 people involved in this conspiracy. But if a couple guys, Randalls or so, maybe they made a couple additions or subtractions to the fire reports and they kept it within house, then that's a possibility. But there's something happened after this that we don't know what happened in this fire. No one's explaining it. And they need to explain it. They need to explain it to Galen. They need to explain it to the state of Indiana. And they know the explanation to everybody because we trust them to govern and to do the right thing. And afterwards, that didn't happen for any of the people that were affected here, in my opinion.
But there's just so much. I mean, just this stuff, because of dash cameras and body-worn cameras and stuff. When I was in law enforcement, this is what we had. And it was called a magic pen. You just had to be good at report writing, because whatever I wrote, this is a magic pen. The guy with the white shirt that reads it believes what's coming out of this pen. That's how it worked. But now, you got cameras on you everywhere. You can't use creative report writing anymore. So whatever they have, now we've got this video to coincide with their report, don't we?
Yeah, and a couple of things, like I said, that came out where they alleged Galen said this and that. It's proven false from the door. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that's crazy.
And you wonder what else is here. Like, when does this end? Because I'm sure this video continues to go on. You know what I mean? It's not cut off. And was there a reason that they decided we're going to cut it off at this, whatever, 20-minute mark or whatever the case may be? I don't know any of that, but like, there's a whole lot of shit that, like, so if you didn't do anything wrong, give us the information then. Like, what are we? I don't understand that. Like, some of the stuff also ongoing investigation, I get that, but some of the stuff can be easily answered. You could exactly say it. At this point, they made contact with the girls. At this point, they got out. At this point, they did CPR. That doesn't affect the investigation. Don't tell me that doesn't. But that could allay a lot of these fears that people have and help them understand a little better. But it just seems like there's going out again, covering your ass. Everyone's just covering their ass.
Yeah. And here's the thing as well. Now it's coming out that it's false. That people are saying that, Galen said this, said that. Well, dude, and here's the fucked up thing. They knew it was false when they said this. They're making shit up. Now, why? Why would they
expect this video to ever come out?
Yeah, why would they lie? What do they have to gain from that? And I'm here to tell you, I've seen it a million times. These are just good old boys with cushy jobs. And all their life, whatever they say, it's, again, look, magic pen. Nothing but lies comes out of this pen. But the guy in the white shirt that reads it, my boss, believes is the truth. And that's the way the shit used to work. And they think it still works like that, I guess, because they forget that there's video and audio available.
Well, you know what? To a certain extent, to those people out there, they may feel trapped, like they don't have an answer. We don't live there. We don't have to, be affected by every day by people in power that might be trying to, get at us or whatever because of our opinions. But now that there's YouTube, and now that there's all these people from other states and around the world that are calling bullshit and asking what happened, those people that are in Florida and in Carroll County, we can help you. We can carry the burden for you, because we can call them out on their shit. There's so many of us, and if that pressure keeps building and building and building, eventually something's going to burst. And I hope that it's a fireman that tried his best at this scene, that knows what happened, that kept his mouth shut, and it's eating him alive, man. Come talk to me. Come talk to Ruckus. Talk to anybody. Off screen. I'm going to be on screen. Like, brother, I've been through it. We've had to shovel people up from the floor. I hate to say that, but I need to get you guys to understand what we go through. I can make that connection with you guys. You don't have to involve me. I don't have to be the savior or not like that. But somebody has to talk. And once one person talks, I think the dominoes will fall. And even if they're just covering their ass for poor performance, that's bullshit too. You know, we all make mistakes. We all have bad days. Man up about it. And when dad's covering up, when son's covering up, then they resign. Of course, we're going to be pissed off. Of course, we're going to be infuriated. Of course, we're going to know that there's some bullshit happening. And that's what's happening. So they shouldn't get pissed that all these people have all these theories. I get upset sometimes with people with theories, but I'm like, I shouldn't be mad at them because no one tells us nothing. And they just want justice. And that's their way about they think they could get justice. So I'm not knocking them for it. I disagree with some people and things that they say, but they have passion for it too. So let's get this done and keep pressuring. Pressure. Flora. That should be our battle cry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm typing in right now into the chat. This is Indie Archives video, and it's got the timestamp on it. So at 15... Dude, I am such a dweeb when it comes to typing. I'm a 2-finger pecker. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I only type with 1 finger still. So you're 50% better than I am.
Yeah. Victim.
Hey, is that Indie Archives in here? I saw a thing up. I don't know if that's them or not, or if that was on your screen there. If they are, thank you for all the great work and for sharing up your videos with everybody.
Yeah.
If that wasn't them in the chat, thanks. I had mentioned that before. They do great work, and thanks for sharing it. More content creators collaborate like that, and I think we'll get to the bottom of this sooner than later.
Yeah, dude, I always tell, I don't announce it every show or anything, because really it's not that I'm humble. It's just who the fuck am I? Who even wants my shit?
Yeah.
But I tell anybody, you can share anything. I've already had to take down one video because another creator complained because I used this video of the woods, walking in the woods in my background. If you can believe that. Yeah. So
I made a Night Stalker video with AC/DC, Highway to Hell, and it was taken down in like 2 minutes. AC/DC doesn't mess around, so I got a guy that did a cover, and that's what I used for the video.
Right.
But I'm cool with that. Like, that's their stuff, and I understand that when people monetize, and if you use this or that, they get a portion of that. I wouldn't even care. Like, that's fine, man. I don't care. But maybe a way to get around it is to use a cover from somebody, as we're finding out, as I'm finding out. But
yeah,
I don't
see,
know.
I don't have a cover.
I see people. No.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck about anybody named Ayers or Randall and all that. I don't have to live in those small towns.
Yeah.
I'll go out there and go to one of their town meetings and stand up and tell them all to go outside and play hide and go fuck themselves. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are they going to do to me?
We can help the people. That's how we can help those people in this town, because we can do that to them. And we're hey, we'll call them out on their bullshit, and we don't have to live and do what they go through. So put it on our backs. There's a lot of people that want to carry this and get this done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Kev, there's 6 beautiful little girls that, 6 years ago, lost their lives. For what? For nothing. And nobody is taking accountability. Shit's starting to roll, and it just so happens that you and I just got involved with this. We're not as frustrated as most of these creators who have been doing this for 6 years and live in that area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're coming in towards the end of it. But, I mean, it's amazing. I got involved with this whole thing because because of an algorithm, I got connected to a Delphi video, and I was like, wait, what? What the? They have this guy on video and audio, and he hasn't been fucking arrested yet. What's going on with this? What kind of Barney Fife shit is this? You know. So that's why I looked into it, and then it's like, oh wow, man, this shit goes deep and wide. This a host, but some of these theories that are coming out are so, in my eyes, are so whacked that I can't even wrap my head. You just have to laugh. You know, you have to laugh.
I think people are coming from a good place, and they're looking for a way to explain the unexplainable. Really, is what it is. It's so hard to explain. All I can tell you is what's happening in this video from the fire development, stuff like that, from the firefighting angle. I can't say for sure how it started. I've never seen videos of the point of origin or any alligator or anything like that. But there's a couple of things I can tell you for sure that aren't happening. A couple of things I can tell you for sure are. I can tell you what I would have done, but it's all, it's all how everyone perceives things. But people are passionate and they're looking for anything that they can find to say, hey, to help. I don't think there's some creators that are about themselves, but a lot of people just want to help and say, hey, look what I found. And they kind of are disappointed when they bring it to you and you're like, well, yeah, that's good research, but that's just not what happened. And then they kind of get pissed at you for that. But, okay, I'll take that. But I just can't agree with you. If I don't see what I see and what you're seeing, I can't say that I saw that. I'm just telling you what I see. That's it.
Now, do me a favor here. I keep rewinding this because I know you're lagging a little bit behind. To you, is either one of those trucks even started yet?
No, they're not running. You would hear them running. 100% you would hear them running. No, neither truck's running. And usually when you start a fire truck, the lights always come on. You always leave the headlights on. And, any time of day you drive with the lights on because you don't want to have to think in the middle of the night. So I've really never been in a fire. There was one guy. He's retired, Greg Grant. He used to shut the lights off in the daytime. And I'm like, what's the matter with you? He said, well, I don't want to burn the bulbs out. I'm like, they're LED bulbs. They're last longer than me and you. But the fire,
they will.
As soon as you start a fire truck, the first thing you'll see is the headlights come on. So no, none of those trucks are running. And again,
they've already been toned out. The tone's already been sent. Why the fuck isn't that truck running?
There's a guy standing in there, and he's like, I believe what he says is, I only work on computers. Well, what do you do at the fire station at 3 a.m, working on computers? He knew that the call came in, so he opened the door. That's why the door was open. And in my opinion, that guy got in the truck with the dude that came down the street to pass the other with his volunteer light bar on, that pickup truck.
Right. And I hate to do this Monday morning quarterback stuff. I do. But there's just so much that I'm not criticizing, I'm questioning, because I already know what I would do. I've been in situations where there's fires and there's smoke, and I've been in high stress situations, and believe it or not, dude, I think better, faster, and more clear in a high stress situation than I do normally. I drive myself fucking crazy. My mind's going a million miles an hour. But maybe that's why your training kicks in, and
your mind knows what to do, and it doesn't give you that second guessing. You don't have time to second guess yourself. This has been drilled into your head. So when this shit happens, this is what you do, and your body just reacts even before you realize. And then if you have time to think, I'm the same way as you. I overthink shit too. Like, oh, think about this, think that. That doesn't need to happen. Just boom, here you go, and then you do it.
Well, I'll tell you, there's been more than once where I'm proud of myself. I give myself a pat on the back because I have the IQ of a retarded clam 24/7. But when the shit hits the fan, I don't care. Law enforcement, dental, whatever I've been in, I bought into a bar. I just seem to, the fog clears when it's stressful. And I operate better,
A lot of people in stress have hyper focus, and those are the people that we want in the first responder fields and in the military fields because they're not built for it, but it's just like they're able to hyper focus. I work with guys, and I always say firemen are like a smoke detector. I'm never LE, so I can't speak to that. But how smoke or CO detector? How a CO detector works is there's a disc inside, and there's always a little bit of CO in the house, maybe a couple parts per million. Nothing will hurt you. But once that disc gets filled up with CO, it's no good. You can't clean it off. You can't replace the disc. Firemen are like that. You see so much shit. My disc is probably smaller than most guys, and it gets filled up, and pretty soon I'm going to say, I've seen enough. I don't want to do anymore. There's guys that are volunteers since 14. They're in their 60s now. And I know things affect them, but they just carry it so much better. And I'm like, I'm glad this guy is a fireman in my town because I know he's going to be able to do it. And there's other guys that, they get in and, they get by the skin of their teeth. And it happens everywhere. It can happen at a grocery store. It can happen at a fire police department. But the guys that are there that are, the gamers, the lifers, those are the ones you remember, and those are the ones that you get really, really drunk at their funeral and you tell stories about, they had balls bigger than two heads duct taped together. Those are the guys that,
I love that saying.
Those are the guys that that we remember. Those are the hero guys. Those are the tough guys, the true tough guys, I think.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I hated my job. I worked my way into a position that was the best position for me, so I enjoyed that part of it. But I'm not one of these people that wanted to be a cop since I was 12. You know why I did law enforcement? Because they were fucking hiring, and I was looking for a job, and I had a wife and two little kids.
Firefighting too.
Yeah, but dude, that's the most thankless job. It's underpaid. It's right there with teachers, as far as and firefighters, for that matter.
We just lost an Officer Sean Sladansky. Would have been 2 weeks ago, and our guys just came back to work on Monday. They were off for 2 weeks. The county, the state police, and other departments covered, but he was. There's 3 videos of it. The guy was, it's just a whole story. But when the people that you run to when shit goes wrong, and this is how this affects me. There's 2 things I just want to talk real fast about this that I went through. When the people see the people that they run to when they're broken, the police, the firemen, when they see them broken, the effect it has on the community is I've never seen anything like it. The funeral procession, people crying, they have phone stores, gas stations, shoe stores, business, whatever kind of business. They're outside with their signs. They're crying. They never even met this police officer before, but when you see these people that you run to when you're broken and they're broken, it has a psychological effect on the community. And the other thing is, I was at the hospital. We all went to the hospital. He's pronounced dead, and they were bringing him out, and there was a priest there, and the priest was in tears, and he was thanking. He shook everyone's hand in the line, thanked them, police, fire, EMS. And this priest was probably 80 some years old. And said, think about everything that priest saw in his life. And this brings him to tears. And I think it was the fact that all these cops and firemen and medics were losing it. We're crying because they're supposed to be strong, but they're human. You know what I mean? They're human. So
yeah,
that was an experience. And these police officers, their lives have changed forever because of this. They're never going to be the same guy that they were before that Monday shift. They're going to be okay. They're going to move on, but that changes the community. I never experienced anything like that before. I just wanted to say I have a couple of videos for him and the other guy, Officer Chuck Thomas, who got hit. He got hit once through his cheek and out his neck. And he got hit twice in the hand. And as they were taking him in the ambulance, he was trying to get at the bad guy who the police had gotten. And they said, Chuck, you got a bullet in your head. He's like, I don't give a shit. Where's he at?
Yeah, I'm going to fuck him up.
The guy like that. Yeah, that's what Chuck. Chuck Thomas, I hope he someday listen to this video. He checked himself out of the hospital that night and went drinking with the guys.
Now, straight to the bar.
Huh? That's a cop.
That's a cop's cop. That's a cop's cop, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Kev, I could go another 6 hours, but we've gone 2 hours, and I usually like to keep it to an hour and a half, really. But I don't mind at all. It's been interesting. It's been great. And we figured out some new shit.
I'm glad that you found you. That's your catch there. I only had that one, and I really have to give that to my deputy, but he doesn't know him, so I'll take credit for it. But the other 2 people, push this out. There's a bunch of people I'm going to send this to, like, as soon as we get off and show this to them, because everyone else that I talked to, no one else has seen it yet. And, whatever it does to help, maybe this will get more views. When you go on YouTube, and, that's all I got on Delphi, too, looking up true crime. You type in true crime, maybe Flora comes up now, and we just get the momentum going and get a resolution to this case that they deserve. Them girls deserve that shit. You know what I mean?
All 6 of them. All 6 of them deserve it.
Yep, Abby, Libby, yep, absolutely. I'm with you there.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, I certainly appreciate it, and you can come back on anytime you want. And if you want me to return the favor and come to your channel, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely talk here and figure it out. And anybody that has any other information or anything like that, send it to me. Send it to Ruck. You can. Yow's a good resource for stuff. Just keep going. And if we disagree on a couple of topics here or there, that's okay. You know what I mean? As long as no one's like getting out of hand. Because in the end, we all want to see the same thing. So could you imagine if all these YouTube creators came together and just said, "We're kicking ass.
I
We
wish
don't
they
agree on
would.
everything, but we're coming together. We're kicking your ass, and we're going to get this done. And after Flora's done, we're going to go to the next case, wherever that is. We're going to kick their ass too. And pretty soon there's an army of knuckleheads like us, and you know what I mean? But that's the pressure, though. You know what I mean?
But that's what we'll name ourselves.
Yeah.
Once we get a
The
couple
knucklehead
other
army.
creators, we'll be the knuckleheads. You know?
That's something I could get behind.
Yeah. But all right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, and I'll holler back at you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I'll talk to everybody soon. Coach Kev out.
See you, buddy. All right. Kev's awesome. Kev's awesome. He came onto my radar literally a hot minute ago. He's a good guy. I like his style. He's a straight shooter. And you guys are great. I've been watching. The nice thing when I have a guest on is I'm listening to him, but I'm also watching the chat. And you guys are fantastic. I'm telling you, you guys ask some good questions. Even when you don't agree with me, you're not being an asshole about it. You're not calling me any names or anything like that, like I've seen other people do in the past on other channels. So thank you for that. Thank you for everybody being an adult. And I will catch you guys soon. Next week, I'm going on to Tanner Barton, the Tanner Barton case. I promised his mom I would help her, Michelle Barton, and I am going to. So I've got some help from another person that is a death inspector. So we should be able to make some good progress on that. If anything new comes up on Delphi, Flora, any of these cases, the Idaho 4, anything good, I will come on and give an update, but I'm not going to fabricate shit. I'm going to be the last creator to put it out because I'm going to vet it and make sure that it's the truth before I jump on it and put it out there. But if you guys want to follow the Tanner Barton case, I'm sure that you'll get as pissed off about it as I did when I first started looking at it. And we're going to get some shit done for Tanner. We're not going to let that stuff just fly, that's for sure. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and don't take any wooden nickels, will ya? My name is Ruckus, and I am 10-7. You guys are awesome. Thanks for spending a couple hours with me and Coach Kevin. I learned a lot today. Kevin's fantastic. I love having people on like him and Kid Rock. Check the rhyme. Make me look smarter than I ever could be on my own. You guys have a great day.